What do you think a perfect murder would be? Where someone committed it and world doesn't know who committed this crime. And that question stay unanswered maybe for rest of the world. But a committed crime always have fingerprints that leave their identity and they are recognized sooner or later, which happened to this pair. Hello mysterious family, welcome back to Mysterious Mariam. This is Mariam AHSAN. Before getting into today's video, let me put forward a fair disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes only and all the information in this video is taken from the facts present online. In 2010, Shakuntla was living in Tapukara, Alwar, India. She was 18 years old when she got involved with Kamal Singla, a 22 years old guy living in the same village. They fell in love with each other and wanted to get married. But things were not as simple for them as they sounded. They both belonged to different castes and they couldn't get married according to the caste rules. Even though both of them tried to keep their affair and relationship secret, both of their families found out about it. Shakuntla's family, in order to break couple up, started looking for her spouse within their caste to arrange her marriage. They finally found a perfect boy for her. 22 years old Ravi Kumar, son of Jai Bhagwan from Samalkha, Delhi. Kamal Singla, on finding out this news, got heck worried. He was gonna lose love of his life. He was so desperate to do something, anything that he could do to have his woman to himself. He started watching movies and soap operas in order to find ideas to have Shakuntla. Finally, two movies clicked him, a Bollywood movie Hamras and a Hollywood movie Helen of Troy. He devised his evil plan. To act upon the plan, he had to take Shakuntla in confidence and he needed another person of trust. He chose Ganesh Kumar. Ganesh was his driver and a close friend. He offered Ganesh 70,000 Indian rupees, that is around 800 British pound. Ganesh agreed to his plan. Kamal asked Shakuntla to go ahead with the marriage, but he advised her not to make any physical relationship with her husband. Obviously, this was not going to be as easy as it sounded. Kamal told Shakuntla that she could make an excuse that in order to have a happy married life with Ravi, she has taken a vow that they will not have any physical relationship for the first few months of their marriage. Shakuntla finally got married to Ravi Kumar on February 8th, 2011. She went to her in-laws and came back to her parental house very next day and continued her relationship with Kamal. She would not go to her husband's house for next 44 days and if someone questioned her, she would simply make the excuse of her vow. Until March 21st, when Kamal signaled Shakuntla to go to her in-laws in order to carry out the next step of their plan. So Shakuntla went to her husband and very next day on March 22nd, Shakuntla planned to go out for movies and shoppings with Ravi. Ravi happily got ready. This was the first time he got to do something with his life partner. They set out when Shakuntla told Ravi that she wanted to meet her sister who was living nearby. They were on their way to her brother-in-law's when they met Kamal Singla and Ganesh Kumar. Ravi and Shakuntla stopped by them. Shakuntla introduced Kamal to Ravi as an old friend and they portrayed this interaction entirely coincidental, when in reality, this was their deadly plan. Kamal and Ganesh had a car while Ravi and Shakuntla were using some local transport source. Seeing that when Kamal offered them a ride, they happily got into their car. All four of them reached to Shakuntla's sister's house. Shakuntla got out of the car and Ravi was about to get out when Kamal stopped him. He said he had to talk to him about something in private. Ravi just had met a friend of his new wife. He didn't want to disappoint her by being rude to her friend. So Ravi told Shakuntla to go ahead, meet your relatives and I will be back in 5 minutes after listening to your friend. Three of them, Ravi, Kamal and Ganesh, set off in the car. Kamal offered Ravi a bottle of water which Ravi accepted and drank. And let me tell you, this bottle of water had sedatives. Ravi went unconscious drinking that water. Evening set out and it was getting dark now. So in the dark, in relatively quiet area which they pre-scheduled, Kamal strangled Ravi to death with a rope inside his car. Shakuntla got back home alone. She asked her in-laws that where is Ravi? Her father-in-law, Jai Bhagwan, was confused. Shakuntla and Ravi left home together. And now Shakuntla came back alone and was asking them about him. So he questioned Shakuntla that Ravi left with you, so he should have come back home with you, right? Shakuntla explained that Ravi dropped her off at her sister's and went away with some guy telling her to be back in 5 minutes. But he didn't show up, so she decided to come back alone. Jai Bhagwan got really worried. This was very unlikely for Ravi to go off the radar like this. He approached Kapashira police station. They questioned Shakuntla and her response was same, that he left her out out of her sister's house to come back in 5 minutes, but he never showed up. Until now, police was treating this case as a missing person and was trying to find out the whereabouts of Ravi. But on April 16, 2011, an FIR of abduction was lodged, but nothing was coming out. Seeing no progress, J. Pakwan filed a habeas corpus right in October 2011 in court, and this case was transferred to Delhi's police crime branch because they had more efficient network and more resources to work on this case. Upon questioning, J. Bhagwan showed his suspicion on his daughter-in-law Shakuntla, her brother, and her friend Kamal Singla. He somehow came to find out about Shakuntla and Kamal's relationship, as Kamal used to visit Shakuntla to her in-laws often. Police questioned 3 named suspects, but they couldn't get any loophole which could point out to their involvement in the disappearance of Ravi Kumar. Crime branch decided to conduct polygraph test on March 2nd, 2012, and guess what? They passed the test. I think that's the reason this test is not considered valid as an evidence. Even though police still had their suspicion on Shakuntla and Kamal, there was not much they could do. They didn't have Ravi's body in case they tried to consider this case as a murder case. There was no witness, no proof, and not much left to question. Shakuntla, around a year of this incident, moved in with Kamal Singla and they started living together. For 6 years, police kept on getting various leads that were pointing towards Shakuntla and Kamal, but there was no solid evidence to further question them. Seeing all these leads coming forward, police decided to make another try to bring out the truth. They approached court to seek permission to do brain mapping test on Kamal and Shakuntla's brother. Shakuntla's brother name is never mentioned officially in this case because he was later found innocent. Court gave permission to crime branch to proceed. Finally, in November 2017, Kamal and Shakuntla's brother underwent brain mapping test in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. In brain mapping test, accused or suspect is first interrogated. Then sensors are attached to their brain, and on the computer in front of them, they are shown certain images, are made to hear some sounds related to the crime and crime scene. And sensors monitor brain's electrical activity and register P300 waves, which are generated only if suspect had any connection with the images or sound. But results to this test were not going to come forward until next year. Shakuntla and Kamal finally got married in 2017. In mid-2018, Kamal and Shakuntla went missing right before brain mapping results going to be submitted to crime branch. Obviously, this was not a simple polygraph test, so Kamal ended up failing this test and Shakuntla's brother got a clean sheet. For next whole year, police tried to locate Shakuntla and Kamal through his phone, but he managed to escape every time. When police was finally successful in arresting Ganesh Kumar, the driver who was paid 70,000 Indian rupees to help carry out this murder plan. Ganesh gave police a second number which Kamal was using to contact Ganesh. Police was successful this time in tracing Kamal down and putting him under arrest. He said he buried his body right in front of his office in Tapukada because he wanted to keep an eye on that grave. He had a transportation and construction business. Police reached Tapukada and started digging to exhume Ravi's body remains, but they only found 25 bones. So they turned back to Kamal. That's when he described that in order to erase murder evidence, after 4 to 5 months of killing Ravi, he dug up his grave, cut his body into pieces and threw the pieces along the road in 70-kilometer stretch from Alwar to Rewari and left only few bones in the original grave. Ganesh, Kamal and Shakuntla were charged with the murder of Ravi Kumar, and verdict on this case is still to come up. Honestly, killing someone to ease your life is never worth the effort. You end up destroying your own life. Stay safe and I will see you in my next video. Bye.